Every breath you take, every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. I see you, Mark Matthews, every single day. Every word you say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Oh, can't you see you belong to me? Hey, Maithili, how my poor heart aches with every step you take, every move you make. Hey, Nick, every vow you break. Gonna wave to everybody. Hey, Tony, bringing in Nick. Every smile you request, I go live with. Take every claim you stake, I'll be watching you.
What are you singing? Every breath you take?
I think I was singing it in Creed voice, though. I was singing it pretty low.
Hey, whatever works.
Giving her a go. How are you?
I'm doing well. Actually, so for all of you at home, I had a filling today at the dentist, and just now it's kind of, the numbing is kind of wearing off, and my jaw is incredibly sore. So if my mouth does not have a great range of movement, that would be why.
Seeing some buffering issues on your end, Nick, but I'm glad to hear everything went well at the dentist. Did they give you any drugs?
Not drugs, just they said like if the pain, just take an Advil with some food if the pain persists. So that might be what I have to do after this. But, you know, they did what they had to do. I trust my dentist. He's a good man.
You mind if I ask a question about what we've been up to and what's been going on?
Please, let's talk about it.
Be my guest. Hey, Hari. Hari's in here. Hari's in the chat.
Ari, do you want me to talk about it?
Sure.
Oh, I thought you said you were going to.
I could.
Well,
I could. Do you want me to?
You can start if you want.
Yo, what's up, Hari? Yeah, no, I mean, we did a drunk read-through last night with Trish Rononi and Rebecca Heron from and it was a lot of fun to go on to a podcast format and just kind of free form, and we were joking a lot and talking a lot about our camaraderie and just you know, being partners in the comedic crimes of you know, sort of the Instagram live stream affairs of Wildfire Feature. And
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
plug Wildfire a bit.
We rebranded as the Wildfire Guys.
Yeah, so we're actually just separating and now becoming an offshoot comedy troupe called the Wildfire Guys.
We need to make sure that this Instagram is available. You gotta look when I bring Maithili onto the live stream. You gotta get off and just
Wildfire Guys.
Yeah, just create it. Start populating the podcast more. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, Hari, have you done a podcast? If anybody who's watching has done a podcast, let us know by telling us that you did a podcast in the comments below.
Fun, a lot of fun.
You enjoyed it?
I really had a lot of fun on the show, and it kind of reinvigorated my love of podcasting. I mean, we like to talk about what we do here kind of as a form of podcasting, but the real thing is it's just nothing like it. I mean, I was usually doing it talking about or reviewing movies or discussing that kind of stuff, but with this, it was just kind of like whatever topic we were talking about, and it, you know, flowed naturally for an hour and change, and it was a lot of fun.
It was, yeah. I enjoyed the part where we started talking about The Big Short, and I like that they cut like a little piece. So, yeah, I mean, looking forward to seeing them release the podcast when it's out. Greg Holmes, welcome, Mr. Greg Holmes, to the live stream.
Greg Holmes.
Greg Holmes is going to be our next guest on the live stream next Tuesday, and you can count. You can count them.
You can count. Well, it's even been a while since we had a Greg segment at all, but it'll be good to have a full episode with Greg just to see where he's at and talk to him about.
You're going to be back.
Next week?
Next Tuesday.
I don't think so.
No?
No.
You got to do it. You got to come back, man. Come
I'll
on.
try.
Come on. Greg, we should push you so that Nick's here or Nick's with you, Greg. Either or. Either or. I think you should be with Greg, if anything, in St. Catharines. Let's be real.
We can't.
Put on a mask. This is essential. Like, this is essential.
This is the opposite of essential.
It is the opposite of essential.
But anyway, I will be back soon. And we got to we're gonna completely renovate, create a studio, create real fire effects and behind us.
Behind the scenes.
We got to do a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. But
well, I mean, I just want to interview Greg with you. That'd be great.
Right. Well, the good thing about Greg is he'll be available literally almost any week ever.
This is true. So, Greg, you may not be the guest next week. We may wait because we want to interview you together. And that's the point I'm trying to drive home here. Nick, you got to come home. We got to get you back here. You're going to be sitting here with me doing the live stream.
Well, I'm saying when the Toronto lockdown lifts, I'll just come back.
When it lifts. So it's
like the 22nd, I think.
Okay.
And my sister actually has a job in Toronto on the 23rd, so I can probably get up there right the day after. So
that's pretty ideal.
Yeah. So
kudos to you, man.
Yeah, my sister's got an acting job coming up, and she has three separate COVID tests she has to do over the next week, or 2 weeks.
So by proxy, all of you won't have COVID because she's getting tested so often.
Presumably, yes.
Assumably,
we have a layer of protection around us.
That's awesome.
But she has to literally drive to Toronto just to get a test and then come back. But she's getting paid for 2 hours work just for coming there to get a test.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
She's making money getting tested, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, I don't know what the project is. I probably wouldn't even be able to say anyway, but it's pretty exciting because she's been having a drought of acting work during COVID. So as of plenty of actors, but
right in the life of yeah.
But anything else to report?
I mean, I've got this ERA mini documentary. We're going to start shooting some doing some remote interviews and stuff on Thursday, Friday this week. So I'm excited for that. Yeah, I mean,
we mentioned a particular giveaway last week. Any updates on that?
Yeah, so I do social media coordinating for a company called Buck Productions. You may have heard me say this before, but
he's very good at what he does.
It's we had a giveaway of 2 Action Cop Wolf Cop action figurines of action dolls, if you will. No, they're like super badass.
Yeah.
We got people to respond with their favorite action figure or doll growing up, and kind of circa, so tell us what year and when you got it and stuff. And I got blown away, over 160 submissions of comments. So my goal is to make it as fair as possible and do it a random draw. Cut up all the, put them in a hat. My plan for the video is to put on a nice blazer and grab myself a nice glass of scotch and have my our roommate, Matin, shoot such video with Greg's camera. I'm going to light it.
Oh, nice.
Do sound, and we'll shoot it at Rolling Pictures, I think, with a Christmas tree.
That's so
we'll shoot it somewhere.
You still have the Christmas tree up at Rolling Pictures?
No, but I can set it up very easily because I learned how to set it up once.
Well, there you go.
Very easy. But yeah, I'm going to probably do that tomorrow evening. Yeah, that's kind of the plan.
That's cool.
I got to bring gear with me and the Wolf Cop action figures and just at night. But I want to after the live stream set up some of Greg's gear and just kind of get familiarized. So, Greg, I might call you with some questions, but if you're busy and don't take my call, I will not be offended.
I will.
You will?
I'll be offended for you.
Well, I just wanted to play Hallelujah, but is it cool if I play Hallelujah? Then we'll introduce Maithili. I'll play Hallelujah too.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go. I
got my loop pedal working, so I just wanted to show it off a little bit. So I won't sing. Nick, feel free to sing, though.
I will probably not.
Do you know this one?
I don't know the words, but...
the fifth, the manifold, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
There you go.
And then I got the loop.
Oh,
So
that's sick.
now plays back. So now, whoa!
Oh no!
Dragon Jammer! So then I go.
Got on top of it. Pretty cool.
Ooh. And then you put on
Ooh.
top.
Mmm.
Something like that. And then it plays
That's awesome. That's very cool though.
Anywho,
That's great.
that's the loop for you. Really excited to play around with that in the next little bit.
Nice little toy you got there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think let's get to Maithili. So
All right.
I'll read this introduction.
Yeah.
Maithili's an Indo-Canadian filmmaker, and after finishing film school at York University in 2015, she started working with filmmaker Deepa Mehta. She was the cinematographer on Deepa's film Anatomy of Violence, which premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in 2016. She has also assisted Deepa on Netflix's Leila, as well as her latest feature film, Funny Boy. Maithili also directed the Roshni Project, which is a series of 4 short films based on the stories of South Asian women in the GTA. She currently has a few projects in the pipeline that she is working on. And yeah, just excited to welcome Maithili to the live stream.
Very awesome. We're happy to have her, and yeah, I am excited for this conversation. So
yeah, definitely throw down some questions in the chat, Nick, for sure.
I will.
And my brother Jackson Reed is here as well, so feel free as well, Jackson.
Jackson.
I didn't really say bye. I feel bad about not saying bye. I'm going to say bye to Nick, and then I'll bring Maithili back on. I feel like I just hung up really too early there.
What?
Sorry for hanging up so early there.
No, I just said I think we have some good questions prepared, and I'm excited to hear what she has to say. So
okay.
Enjoy. You cut me off always, but that's okay. You're too quick with the finger.
Sorry.
That's okay. Enjoy, everybody. I'll be here in the chat.
Talk to you later, Nick.
All right. Bye-bye.
We love you.
Bye now.
It said I couldn't remove him for a moment. I was like, well, I guess we're just doing a live stream with Nick. No, that is not happening. Maithili, I am sending the request right now.
Hey. That was a beautiful intro, but you really did cut him off. Like, I was sad. Like,
I'm sorry. Thank you so much for joining me. This is awesome.
oh, I'm super honored, super nervous, as you can tell, but I'm happy to be here.
I get always nervous beforehand. Like, my stomach drops, and I just feel like, okay, here we go, another one. But it's been doing this since April, so I guess it's started to come a little bit more naturally, hopefully. But how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I mean, it's been kind of a weird February, I guess. Just,
Is it February? Yes, it's February. I lost track of time, but
I mean,
I don't know where we are.
Hard to throw to what life was like last February. A very different world that we were living in. I was like about a month into my job, and things were kind of like they were happening, but at the same time, it was like very new. Everything was new, but everything just kind of feels not like that. But we're dealing with it. I just my computer just turned off, and I lost all my questions. So I'm just
no worries.
I'm going off script now. But yeah, no, it's going pretty good. I mean, how are you is kind of a loaded question. It's like it's a tough one. Like, how are you?
It's a weird question. Like, I never know how to answer that question. Like, I'm always in a state of I don't know. Because how am I? How are any of us? We're all dealing with a very unprecedented period of time.
Absolutely.
But I think there have been ups and downs and a lot of upside downs as I feel. But I feel grateful that like, you know, we're standing here, we're okay. And I'm hopeful that things improve.
Yeah, no, I'm super hopeful. I mean, it's just like paying attention to the news versus, you know, having to just go to work every day and like, you know, sort of approach each day like safely is like of my
Hmm.
top concern. So I'm always
Hmm.
like, you know, am I it's how's your family doing? Like how are the people in your family at the going?
So far, so good. In fact, my parents just came here like some weeks ago, so they're here right now.
Oh really?
Um,
Are
yeah.
you living with them or are they staying?
Hmm. They're staying with me, and oh, I hadn't seen them in like over a year, so it was good to see them. And they're here. They're going to be hopefully be here for a few months, so some
That's
family time.
lovely. That's lovely. Have you lived like had your parents come and stay with you before when you had like your own place?
Yeah, they've stayed with me before. I haven't lived with my family for over half my life, but like I make sure to go there or they come here, definitely. So
My
yeah.
mom and dad aren't together, so I have to like maybe pick one at one point later in life. Like, my mom's always been like, "Well, I'd love to come and live with you," and my dad's like, "You'll take care of me, right?" But like, I definitely have to play with some future thinking there.
Maybe get like a huge mansion with like an east wing and a west wing or something, and then like a barrier between them that
Um,
only you can go through. So
yeah,
like
or
there you go.
or just have two different. I don't know.
On the same street, two houses in the same street.
That would be cool. It would be nice if it was somewhere warm. I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't really like this winter. But yeah,
Hey,
it,
born in the tropics, brought up in a desert country. Okay, like the fact that I've been here for so many years still astounds me. But yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's the fact that I was born here and I've lived here all this time and I haven't left yet is also not make me happy. So I got to get to the Bahamas. I'm gonna ask you a question, but before I do that, I'll tell you about something that
Hmm.
I do to stay busy during this time is doing some writing. I started writing a thing around Christmas time
Hmm.
called Portals, and it's something that I've kind of been joking about. And it's still a joke in my mind to a certain extent, but it's like been a writing project to like put together different comedic situations and sort of the idea of like entering into different portals. It's also just an idea of like we're all stuck in our rooms during COVID doing nothing but looking at screens, so it'd be nice to just go into a portal and go wherever you want to, sort of thing. Travel's definitely a thing that everybody isn't doing enough of right now and wants to do. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, I was just I've taken some, I don't know, some creative routes going that way and just playing with situations and stuff, and it's kind of been a fun thing to do. So how have you been staying busy, and what creative outlets do you have?
Well, first off, like that sounds super cool. And I
Yeah,
either when you're done, please send it to me so I can read it. Like now I'm hooked. Now I need to know. Like
I'm very but my work is so self. I mean,
oh my
I know it's terrible, but anyway.
God. Aren't we? Like there are so many of us who are like that. You know, I say this, but would I send my script to anybody? No. Um,
Some people say it's
but
terrible, but it's actually good. For mine, it's actually terrible. Like I'll be.
no, see, for me, like I haven't written a script actually in a while now. So one, I'm dreading it. Two, I have no, like half the time I'm like, I think of a concept, I start, and then like I'm like, this is crap.
Right.
Into the dustbin it goes.
I,
But yeah.
that's why I do portals, because they can all be equally bad. That's you know what I mean though. Like it's like they're short enough that I don't have to commit to sort of trying to tell
Hmm.
a grander narrative of like
Hmm.
90 pages or whatever. It's like I can do like 2 or 3 pages per, and then that's and people like short form. I think I don't know.
I mean, at least like during this period of time, it's easy to like keep up with that, and it's also for creators. Like you know, you can create more content that way. You know, you're not pitching everything for this like long feature or like long series, you know. You can keep your creative juices going and experiment, I feel, with the short form,
Even
which
though
you can't.
the features are still the so let's
The goal, yes, but I think to keep going, you know, like it's always, and it's also the place to experiment, right? Like, because it's short form, you can try out like literally anything.
right.
And yeah.
Well, I'm trying to produce a feature right now. I'm in the process of doing that and trying to figure that out. And I've done it twice before, but it's like this one is like an actual attempt, you know. So I'm just starting to get things together and for funding applications and trying to take advantage of everything that's available and doing all the intake rounds, being like the first to apply and make personal contact. But do you have any new projects in line in 2020?
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm still recovering from 2020. It's been a major year. With
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like it's still going. Like I mean, there are always things in the pipeline. So like I am collaborating with different groups of people on things
Nice.
at the moment. So some really like interesting writers, some really interesting, very different concepts. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Where am I from? Born in India, brought up in Dubai, been in Toronto for 10 years.
Where are your parents?
So I'm like they're both from India, but from two different communities. So my mom's from the northern side of India, and my dad's from the south. So I'm
Okay.
kind of like mixed Indian.
Okay. Very cool. Where, like, my friend Hari is from Bangalore. Is your mom from the south or is your dad from the
No,
south?
so my dad's from the south. He's from Chennai, but my parents actually live in Bangalore
Oh,
currently. So yeah, I also did high school there in a boarding school. So
do you ever?
Bangalore is the place I visit when I actually go home. But yeah,
Well, you and Hari share that aspect. That's kind of cool. Maybe we're both, maybe in high school around the same time. He's 27, so in
I'm
boarding school.
27.
So I mean, maybe you guys cross paths. You never know.
Maybe. Who
Impact
knows?
through work and stuff. So that's kind of cool. And he went to St. Marie, and he stayed up there. Like he wants to be in Toronto, but he likes the Sioux just grabbed him and got him, and he's got like a really really solid reputation up there of being like the editor in the city, like in Sault Ste. Marie. So he's like a big fish in the pond that I'm from. I don't want to call it a small pond, but it's different than Toronto for sure.
But being a big fish anywhere like acknowledges that you're talented. So I'm sure that even if he moved to Toronto, he would, be a big fish in his own way. So
He wouldn't be very good. He wouldn't get work. Nobody would ever want to hire him.
ah, poor Harry, like poor Harry.
I, I just want to take advantage of my every opportunity I have to troll Hari because he's the best, and I hate him.
Oh gosh.
Well, my brother just said shout out to Hari. I saw he was nominated for an Arts and Culture Award. I was watching that live. I was like rooting for him in the moment. I was like, come on!
Well, congratulations to Harry for the nomination.
Yeah, it
And
was
I
awesome.
hope there are many more and awards. And
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm hoping to work on something outside of work with Hari at some point because we've worked together on like film sets, but like we've never actually like he's helped me out on some stuff like in shot like B-roll and it's a
Mhm.
usable B-roll, which I don't know about you, but if you have somebody coming out to be like a second camera with you, you want them to give you something, obviously, but you kind of have low expectations to a certain extent as well. So when you get something that like you don't have any expectations, you're just kind of like he's
Mhm.
B-roll, I'm getting my shot, and he like got really great stuff every time, and he also has a drone, so it's always good to have him out for some filming.
Yeah, it's always great to collab, especially with like close friends.
Oh, yeah,
It's a different kind of like fun.
yeah, and
And even if you lost, like next time you will win. I predict this.
yeah,
Next
sorry,
time you will win.
lost. How are you know, better luck next time, I guess. I'm sorry.
Uh,
I'm sorry. We work together. He's my work husband. It's a thing. Okay, my bae. All right. Everybody.
hey, you do you. I didn't say anything.
No, it's a love-hate relationship with him. He treats me great, but at the same time, he's very sarcastic and abusive. So it's like I have to, I have to get him back, especially live when other people are watching. So people.
Hey, who might have come between a work relationship thing?
I'm gonna get back to the questions. What is your favorite word?
Oh my God. I don't have like that's a very like I don't know. There's so many languages. Like, I mean, right off the bat, like
Give
what
me a few.
stands to be there. There's this word in, I don't know if the origins are in Urdu or in Arabic or Persian. It's called ruh, like ROH, and it means soul. And I've always been like, I don't know, weirdly like magnetically attracted to that word, but
How do you spell it?
ROOH.
And it means soul.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think soul's a good word. I think that's a pretty good choice. Um, Uru. Uru.
Yes. Got it.
What is your least favorite word?
That's just being mean to words. I don't know. Like, I don't have a least favorite word. I
Yep.
think anything with a negative
Yeah,
connotation,
yeah, like
like
least,
would
like a thing that you don't like could be a word that you don't like. I don't know. You know what I mean?
like
I like
I
every.
don't know.
I don't like mustard. I don't know. So maybe I'd put mustard because it like conjures up a feeling of like somebody's trying to make me eat mustard. That's kind of what I feel.
Yeah, I don't have that. Like, yeah, sure, there might be foods that I may not like as much, but the word is fine to me. Like, I've never actually thought about this. So now, like, I have to sit and think for like and ruminate on this for like, I don't know, for weeks.
It's a great word. Another one that's one of my favorite words. Ruminate. What turns you off creatively?
Ah, like, um, I think a very like toxic environment, like, when there's no openness and ready, like the want for collaboration, the want to like communicate and try something new and like kind of being put in a box. Like I think that for me turns me off creatively. Like I feel very trapped, and I don't like that feeling.
What turns
But
you on creatively?
good vibes. Like I like I've made kind of like a rule that I will only work with people with whom or try to with whom like I feel that kind of energy that we're on the same level of excitement and just the willingness to like take things to the next level,
All right.
or just I don't know, like be ourselves and just be authentic, I guess.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, like any like like scratching on walls, any like screechy or like exhaust fans,
Like, yeah, yeah.
like I don't know, like uncomfortable noises. Like
I've never been in the presence of like a teacher or anything like doing that on the chalkboard. But enough mood.
no, even you like hypothetically, I could hear it in my head. No, just
Uh,
ugh.
what sound or noise do you love?
Oh, the ocean, like anything with water,
Nice.
rain, the ocean, waves. Like I'm all about that. Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice. What is your favorite curse word?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I say fuck a lot in various different contexts,
Yeah.
but like in different phrases. But I guess is it my favorite? I don't know.
I feel like it's probably the most common answer is
Yeah.
bomb, as people call it. Yeah, I had to use it in this drunk read through last night, and I was just like, it carries a connotation for darn. Uh, what profession rather than your own would you like to attempt?
I mean, if we're sticking to performing arts, then definitely music. Because like I'm a trained vocalist or have been. But
Dude,
yeah, so
really good.
I mean, if like, I don't know how good I am.
Oh,
Like I
good.
haven't sung for a long time. Like I can't stand the sound of my own voice, so like that's really hard to like do that. But if I had to pick something like out of the box, I would say something to do with sports. Like I really love sports.
Okay. Like what kind of position? Like something to do with like business in sports, or like actual like being like an athlete and like
I mean, like if in an ideal world, like being an athlete,
what would you want?
but what would I what?
What sport would you want to play?
I don't know. Like I used to like I've won like medals for swimming, but
Okay.
like I've like played a lot of different sports growing up. Cricket, football, throw ball. I don't know. Like probably just hockey is not my thing. No offense to anybody who plays hockey, but like it's
I
just not my thing to play. Um, and I don't understand like American football. So when I say football, I mean soccer.
you mean
But yeah. I felt like I need to clarify that.
How long did you do swimming for?
Oh, I started when I was 6,
Oh,
and
a long time.
yeah.
Pretty cool. Do you still enjoy swimming, or is it just kind of like,
I no, no, I enjoy swimming. I just I got injured in high school, so I kind of like quit sports like as a thing after that. Yeah. Like,
w-
but
w-
yes, I enjoy like swimming and like
that's,
and generally like being active is like I enjoy it. It keeps me sane.
that
It's
sucks.
kept me sane during the pandemic. So like,
It sucks that you got injured doing something that you enjoy. Like I got injured playing football, and that was brutal. So
well, like that's a thing, right? Like, I mean, we need to find a way to kind of keep that same passion in our lives, which is what I'm trying to rediscover right now. Like on like a path to recovery. So let's see how that goes. Yeah.
yeah. Next question is going to seem out of heaven exists. What would you want to hear from God at the pearly gates?
Oh God.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you can say, "Oh God,
I,
oh God."
oh God. But I think some things don't need to be said. Like I think they like maybe just get a hug. And yeah, I'm good with that. Like,
All right, enough with the
does God give hugs? I don't know. Like I hope so.
en- enough with those questions. I'm still asking the same questions. I've asked them like 40. This is the 39th live stream. That's crazy. We've done 39 of these.
Wow.
That's
Congratulations.
that's at least like 39 hours of that's enough for 1 year of community service in high school. That's or you needed 40 hours in high school. So I don't know if this is
You did
community
it.
kind of community. I don't know. How did you get started in this industry that we call the entertainment industry, I guess, or just film industry in general? You know?
Like, I mean, how did I get into film? Like, I used to do, like I said, like I used to do music, and I dabbled in theater in school, and I used to write from a very young age. But I don't know, something I've always, oh, nice.
Little tech.
I've, I want one. Like, I want one. I want one to like actually fiddle around with.
I love it.
But I think I've always just been gravitated towards like the creative arts, and I've loved films. Like my entire family loves films. We have a huge collection at home. And I don't know. I don't know what made me choose film, but like I somehow landed up there and got into film school, an amazing film school with amazing professors. And
That's York.
um,
York.
yes, York, yeah. And
Shout out to York and your university professors. Do you have a favorite professor that you want to shout out?
no, there's so many. Like I wouldn't want to go there. Like that's an iffy like, place to go. I appreciate all of them. Each one of them has taught me something like totally different. And
I'm gonna shout
yeah.
out Bowden from Brock. If I'm gonna do a prof shout out, Bowden. Professor Nebezio. He was interesting guy. He was like he made us do work and actually learn the stuff. So that was awesome.
I feel like each of my professors are very different, like extremely different. And I
Right?
mean, some were tougher than others, but I don't think I appreciate one more than the other just because, like, I think they taught me so many different things about it. And I started off as a newbie. I'd never done film before, so I think it was just a very immersive experience, in that
Right?
sense.
That's pretty cool. What specifically about their like teaching styles or approaches to filmmaking, storytelling do you think you sort of took away from your university profs?
Well, I think like what I really liked about the program was it was very balanced, right? Like you had to do your theory, you had to do screenwriting, you had to do production work. So you had like your in-class stuff, but you also had like workshops, and then you had guest workshops and with people in the industry. And but they challenged you, you had many assignments, but you also had like these bulk projects that you could take on and work with other people from other departments. And I think um it pushed you to like do just more than what like your curriculum required. And plus like you had to do stuff that was not in film but in other performing arts. So like I did music, I did like I attended like plays for like an entire year. um but at the same time you had to do like obviously other credits and other programs and stuff. So I think it was a very like rounded kind of experience, and I think that was really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I my experience in university was kind of like a lot of theory, a a lot of like history, a lot of just academic sort of learning. So once I got to like put my hands on a camera and like run around and start shooting things, like didn't want to really put it down. And it's weird because like it is a really like sort of like you can forget how to do it after not doing it for 2 weeks too. Kind of like with stand-up comedy, some performing arts, you can just pick it up and it's back. But like to be a good like camera operator and be a good like shooter, you got to just always be shooting and looking at. I got to get back into that rhythm for sure. But right,
No, I'm same. Like, I mean, the first thing that was put into my hands was the Bolex, and it was,
right.
I mean, just wow, like shooting on 16 film, black and white, like cutting it on a Steinbeck. Like, I mean, that was there's just something else about that. Like, that's magic. But
The Bolex
yeah,
camera.
yeah, the Bolex camera. And that was our first assignment, like first production assignment.
Everybody watching.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Not to be confused with the Bowflex workout.
Not the blue, no, not that one. Not that one. Hard to shoot a film with that, but
You
yeah.
could. What kind of stories? This is like a really broad question, but like, what kind of stories do you want to tell? That's pretty broad, but I'll just go with it.
I don't know everything. I think, like, there's always. I think what always strikes me about like when we talk about like film and especially when I'm talking to people who are not in the industry, there's always this thing about critically acclaimed versus like entertainment versus, like, and I don't see that kind of difference for me. Like films mean something different to each and every person watching them, right? Like so I want to do everything, like and because I'm like, with an Indian background, I constantly get the whole Hollywood versus Bollywood question. I'm
Right.
like, I want to do both. Like, I want to shoot like a major song sequence and like do all that. But I also want to like, I love working in Canada. I want to make Canadian stories. Like,
Yeah.
I think stories, there are a lot of stories in the world, and I think all of them deserve to be told. So whichever one I'm lucky to make, I'd be lucky to do that. So.
Gonna jump to a question below here, but what sort of one moment here. Talking
No,
about
Jade, I won't give you a moment. No,
one more moment.
no.
Just about like source material, and talking about like critical acclaim versus something being popular versus something just not even I guess resonating. But saying that art is the goal and that money doesn't matter, and finding a good script is what it's all about, truly. But obviously, a lot of scripts get made to something. That's a whole other thing. But what I guess would you be looking for in a good script?
I think of course art matters
For you,
and like money also matters. Let's be very realistic here. Like, like we
okay.
want the best of both worlds.
Of course,
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
you
But
want a budget.
like I mean, you want to be able to have the money to work with and make, go like crazy with what you want and get everything, every shot, every piece of equipment you want and every actor that you want. You want that. Or to be able to shoot anywhere in the world. But sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. But art is art, I think, whether it has the money or not. Um, what I look for in story, I think, is truth. Um, like I like it's not about me relating to it, but me seeing, even if I can't relate to it, like it has nothing resonating with my life for me to still feel like I belong, like characters, plot, just general like a feeling, it's an intuition that goes along with it. But I think that's what I look for, truth.
Are you looking to write something, or are you looking for source material and then adapting and making something that way, or like what, like if you could have it your way, how would you want it to work out for you?
Both. Like my dream project, like which is a huge thing to take on, would be an adaptation, but I feel like I want to write it because I know it really well.
Right.
But I love working with writers. I love working with different people. So yeah, like, and I'm always down to read scripts and do all that. Like,
That's awesome. I want to jump on over to the Roshni Project. I don't know if I'm saying that.
Roshni Project, yeah.
Where you directed 4 short films, like of a mini sort of thing, where you have them kind of playing together. called Relate, Realize, Reflect, and Reform. Is that correct?
Yep. I
Well,
think so.
yeah, I watched all 4 of them, and I kind of dug some of the different styles you were going with. Like, I kind of felt like there were situations that were being created kind of like artificially, like to sort of play out like these people as characters and acting, and like they're in a situation that trying to like going through things and seeing what like other people just sort of like being like in but and out of the situation. And then I also liked how there were other aspects where there were like it was a conversation and they weren't really acting at all. It felt like it was like, it didn't feel improvised either, but it did feel like there was this level of just like natural flow of conversation. And also I found that I'm just pointing out cool stuff because I was just like watching the using the black leader for one of them for like 30 seconds while you hear the conversation is interesting. And then I liked your camera work there. It was kind of like all sort of it kind of took me like that because you have 4 parts, right? So you can use that aspect to be like, this one is like we're trying to bring everything together here, but at the same time they can be different, just like different experiences. And yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool. Like, yeah, and the profiles and like seeing sort of like, you know, each of these individuals kind of celebrating. And I don't know, it kind of made me feel up and down. It was a little bit of an up and down journey. But I think that's sort of the reality with mental health, is it is an up and down journey. So kind of just curious how you got involved with that. And do you plan on doing anything more like that kind of stuff?
First off, thank you for all that feedback. Like, that was amazing.
Project.com. It's like, you could go check it out.
Yes, it's all there.
Mental health South Asian women, which is awesome.
So the entire project actually started by Dr. Gershon Birdie, who is a really, really outstanding human being and a psychologist here. And so I knew her, and she needed a filmmaker for this. So basically, phase 1 of this project, called the Roshni Project, it was more like a research data-based kind of focus groups with the people that you see in the films.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's their stories. So it's essentially they're not actors. That, you know, it's their stories. They're the ones bringing it to screen. All of that. It's all about them. They're the true heroes in this, honestly. And in phase 2, I was brought in to kind of take all of their stories and all of the stuff that they discovered in the focus group and kind of translate that onto screen. So there was a lot, and I would say I think Roshni, like, things all about trust. You know, like the fact that they trusted me with their stories, the fact that they shared that part of me, and you know, I shared a part of myself with them. You know, I call them my Roshni tribe, because honestly, that's what they are. And it was a beautiful experience, intense, as you said. Like, you know, you had the ups and downs, like so did we. Some parts were easier to shoot, some were harder, and it was very like, some moments really were improvised and off the cuff. Some were definitely planned. Some things didn't work out as planned, as we all know. But yeah, like it was definitely a very different experience. But it is supposed to be that way, that each film is supposed to be its individual, have an individual presence, but also have a presence within the whole. Because they're kind of like 4 different realms of mental health. Each film is made for a different group of people. So for family, for faith communities, for people who provide like educational services, and people who provide mental health services, you know. So each one is a very different kind of emotion and different kind of like story behind it, but it's their stories. They, like, you know, they shared it with me. We worked on it together. It's unscripted for the most part, like apart from probably a few notes that they took here and there, but it's basically unscripted. And yeah, like it was just being in the moment, I think, with everybody. So
great work. Using film and sort of like, you know, the therapeutic aspects of it with the subjects that you had there. Your Roshni, would you say your twins, or your Roshni
tribe?
Roshni tribe. With your Roshni tribe, and that's just kudos to you for like using film in a way that isn't just for entertainment and for, you know, like it's used as a way to as medicine, which is really, really cool, and that's part of the magic of this stuff for sure.
Definitely Gershon. I credit that to Gershon. It was her vision. It was
Got
her
it.
idea to do that, like, and not have it done as like a research paper that's lying on its shelf,
Right.
accessible only to somebody who's in the department or whatever, but actually make it accessible to everybody. So I think definitely kudos to her. This entire project happened because of her. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's really cool. Um, I guess I kind of want to go to the one-on-one or one-one sessions that you do, and talk a little bit about what those are and how did you get started doing them.
Oh, one-on-one. Well, like I think it's been a really strange year, and obviously a lot of things moved virtual, and I found myself like listening to, because obviously I have a lot of friends who did the lives and did interviews and did all these kinds of things, and I realized that all these talented, really smart like people were getting asked really really like strange questions that like really you learn nothing from. Like, like what donut flavor would you be if you were like reborn as a donut? Like, which is fun as like a fun question, but if the entire like conversation goes in that like tangent, like, like with questions like this, what really are you learning? And in a period of time where we could all learn and grow from like, using each other's experiences and sharing that, I thought, why not like have like a platform where that can happen,
Right.
so like I like I said, like it's not an interview. Like I spoke to each person and saying, okay, look, it's not an interview. It's not like I'm asking you questions. You can ask me questions. Like, it's, or we can just wing it and talk about things. So each one started off with like um, a point that we decided to go, like a direction in which we decided to go in, and then we just took it from there, like unscripted, just having a conversation and just seeing where it goes and just learning from each other and learning from the people who contributed versus like through comments, through a lot of different things. So I think that's where it started, just the want for um, us to all grow together, no matter where we are in the world and what we're doing. And yeah.
That's awesome. I yeah, I watched a bit of the one with Ali Kazmi,
Mm-hmm.
and Tia, the one with Tia as well.
Tia Pattaya, yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of was like finding like as it goes on, as the time goes on. I mean, you guys get into deeper issues, obviously, and it gets more. Probably it starts personal, but it gets more personal at the same time, a little bit, because everybody's like at the beginning they're in a certain
Mm-hmm.
way, I guess. But I really dug sort of the back and forth aspect of it, whereas like it kind of flows like natural conversation,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. Will we be seeing more of one-on-one?
Hopefully,
Yeah,
fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But yeah,
that's awesome.
I do have. There are obviously so many people to talk to. Like, let's see. I'll leave you on that cliffhanger.
You ever
Will
need
we
one-on-one?
return?
I'll come on for sure. But
Hey, I already told you if it comes back, I want you on it. Like I already said this to you.
dealing with mental health when starting up the industry, trying to get established, all of these things, the pressures of being told by people that you can only do this, not that. Like, there's just a lot of voices and perspectives and context for where we're at. But I guess just how would you say the journey has affected your mental health? But how has mental health affected the journey? And that whole back and forth and playing, just the roles we play in this.
hmm I would say I'm incredibly lucky because not because I didn't have my mental health like up and downs like we all do, but I've had the support and the backing and the validation of somebody so important, like not just to the film community, but to me, like who you've met, Deepa and David,
Yeah,
David Hamilton.
I haven't even said anything. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about.
Deepa and David are like, I mean, oh my God, where do I even begin? Like honestly,
I don't know.
like they are like, the light guiding me like with my backbone. But at the same time, they're family, like I can talk to them about anything. They've like there's no sense of like, oh, like boss versus, like it's like they not only welcome me into their company and, into their films, but also into their hearts. And I mean, to have that kind of like, you know, those kind of people telling you that you're okay, you're doing okay, and with whom you can share that kind of like when you're going through your lows and say, frankly, I don't know. Like during Anatomy of Violence, I remember there was this point where there was a day I just don't know what I was doing. Like I felt like I was just not able to, like, you know, I was getting things wrong.
On Anatomy of Violence, you're saying?
Anatomy of Violence, yeah. Um, I mean, I was what I had just turned 22, like, you know, and I'm like, what is happening? And like I had this day where I was just kind of like, what am I doing here? Like, I think I'm failing. I'm gonna fail you. So I had this like at lunch, like, you know, conversation with Deepa, like, you know, just and I started crying. I was just kind of like, Deepa, I'm failing you. Like, and she's just like, breathe, you're okay. Like, tell me what, go with your gut. I trust you. Like, honestly, that's what she said. She's like, I trust you. Just go with it, you know. Like whatever you feel, just don't doubt yourself. Just do it. Like go with it. And if I feel like there's something else, I will guide you. Like I'm there, you know. Like and like I always joke with Deepa. Like for me, I always hear in my head Deepa saying, "This is the shot." Like, you know, because as we were shooting, because it was improv, right?
Yeah.
A dramatized improv. The entire thing was following the actors, led, you know, and I could always hear Deepa, like whether saying this is the shot or like, you know, to move me. Like she's moved me from like incoming traffic because I didn't even realize I was standing on the road. That's how like, you know, she's legitimately moved me from like getting hit. But also like every time in life now, like I'm like, oh my God, this is the shot. Like when I just hear her in my head. Like she's the voice in my head, if anybody ever wants to know. Like Deepa. But
Exactly
yeah.
how that happened. Just I'm curious. Like, I mean, I'm curious about how you got involved with her originally, but just how you got the opportunity to shoot Anatomy of Violence.
It's a very funny story. So we went to India. Like Deepa called me home and she said, "Okay, do you want to come to India with me just to kind of like shoot this like workshop that we were doing, based on the subject."
She asked you to shoot it.
Yeah, no, so just shoot the workshop as like and then transcribe it, like, so we could create a script on the basis of it. So that was my like I was supposed to be a fly on the wall, just there with a tripod and camera, just you know, doing the average thing, and then taking notes down at night, like making sure we had everything. And on day two, like so we get to India, and day two she suddenly says, "This is the film." Like, you know, this is the film, and like yeah, like and so I got off the tripod and now I'm like handheld following everywhere. Honestly, I didn't realize I was the cinematographer of the film until like way later. Like it didn't register because my first reaction to her telling me, yeah, so you need to shoot, like you're shooting this, like was what?
What?
She actually like at TIFF when we were introduced, that's how she introduced me on stage. She repeated this entire story and mimicked how I responded to her
What?
at that time. Yeah. That happened. So everyone knows how I responded. Yeah,
What?
no, it was intense and like I honestly don't know. Like I didn't realize
How many days?
how big of a deal. I think about a month, I think, like on and off, like different areas.
How do you feel your like skill level increased over that month with your camera operating skill? Like,
Oh, so I trained like at York. I specialized in direction. Like I did do some like course in cinematography, but like I've until that point, like I didn't even consider myself a cinematographer. Like I'm still like with that question mark. Um, I mean, I think like honestly, that's the one thing I dreaded when I went to TIFF. Like, you know, and I said, okay, what if somebody asked me like a technical question or something? Like those are the two things. Like one, don't trip. Two, like, you know,
yeah, yeah.
please nobody ask me a technical question, please. Because like I honestly don't speak tech. I don't understand it. People who've worked with me know that. Like I'm just kind of like, can you make this happen? Because I don't know, you know, the jargon, all of that. And people have asked me, okay, so how did you shoot the film? Tell me how you did it. Like, what was like, you know, how like what like mode did you use on your camera and what? And I'm just like, look. I looked through the lens. It looked okay to me. Like, I kid you not. Like, I kid you not. Which is why, like, that's what I'm saying. It didn't even, I just went with it. Like, I had Deepa in my head, and I had these fantastic actors leading me, and I just honestly followed their movements. Like, it's a dramatized improvisation for anybody who hasn't seen it. And so, like, of course, there's like a lot of direction by Deepa and things like that, but it's also very led by the actors in that moment. So there were a lot of things that I wouldn't know what they're going to do next. So they'd suddenly get up and run. That's how I found myself in the middle of the street, by the way.
Got it.
Because they would just like go from somewhere and then land up somewhere, and then I'm just following them. So I have no idea what's happening. But yeah, like it was an intense experience, and I learned a lot in that sense. I learned that I could be a cinematographer, and that, when I had to represent the film at other festivals, I even had that like card. My card said like cinematographer, and I'm like looking at it like, when did I become a cinematographer? Like, when did this happen? And like, even when I think it was from Vancouver that I got, through somebody else who used to work at our office, sent me this email about this award, cinematography award that I got for Anatomy. And I honestly thought it was a joke. I went back to sleep, woke up like half an hour later, and I was like, oh, it's still here. Oh no, what? I didn't even know I was nominated for this. Like, how did this happen? Like, I was in shock. I'm still in shock.
That is cool.
So, yeah.
That is so cool. This was when you were 22?
Yes. I had just turned 22, yeah.
So what have the last 5 years been like since then, and working with Deepa and David and I guess everyone else that, in that 5 year span? Like, yeah, like that's a pretty big one. That's a pretty big one, but I bet last 5 years, ups and downs.
Every moment with Deepa and David is magic. Like, honestly, like, I've learned so much from them, not just about film, but about life, about the industry, about like, I don't know, like, even like basic things, like, because I get to work with both a director and a producer, like, I get to see everything, I get to experience everything, and um through them I've met so many other people in the industry, whether it's working in India, like, on a project like Leila, or like in Sri Lanka, like for Funny Boy.
Right.
There's so many people that you work, and the industries are so different, right? The methods of work are so different. Their experiences are so different. So to kind of be able to tap into that and learn so much from like everybody, I feel like, honestly, I always say this, that I feel inspired every day. Like, like, it's like there's not one day that I go without like feeling, aha, like, I learned something new, I did something new, or I feel inspired to do this or that. And I've always gotten and I'm super grateful for it. I'm 5 years later, I'm still mind blown that I work with Deepa and David. Okay, like,
It's a celebration, really. I think it should be celebrated because it's, she's built up such a beautiful canon, and like, she means a lot to a lot of people, and it's pretty beautiful that you get to work with her, and you've spent a lot of she's part of your life, you're part of hers, and that collaboration is really cool. And I appreciate you for like allowing us to like share that aspect of your career life on this live stream, and sort of go into that, because that's really cool. And like, I went to Brock University, in my seminar rooms I saw Bollywood Hollywood on the posters along the wall, and I was just like, yeah, like, for sure, that experience of feeling like, oh my God, like, and now I get to work with them through my job picture. It's just really cool. Like, and to have just, that feeling of like, everybody's just people. We're just all people. Like, some people make movies, some people fix sinks. Like, we just all are people just doing stuff. So, she's
the oh my God moment really doesn't get old. I'm telling you, 5 years later, I'm still having the oh my God moment. Like, from the day I met her. I met her in my 4th year for a film. She was in a film that I made, right? Like, for my final year project. That's how I met her.
She was in the film?
So I interviewed her for a doc I was making.
What?
And that's how I met. That's how I met her.
Okay.
But yeah, like, so.
The doc about, and how did you get Deepa Mehta to be in your doc?
Oh, that's a wild story. Wild story. I was
Wildfire live stream. You might as well finish with a wild story.
Well, um, I was making this doc about, I wanted to make it about cross-cultured artists and then turn into like Indo-Canadian like filmmaking, and I don't know how it got where it got, but and I remember I was talking to my dad at that time, and trying to like ask him, because both my parents used to work in advertising way long ago, like they don't now, but um and kind of like, oh, so how do I approach somebody like Deepa, like what's the best way, whatever. And he asked somebody that he knew in India, who like from a production company, like a smaller, from the same company, like a sister company where he was like heading. And just like, I was like, oh, how do you do, like how do you think she should approach, kind of thing. Turns out that that person was like a long lost like old friend of Deepa's,
Okay.
and they hadn't spoken in years. So he's like, oh my God, I will connect them. And like, which was like a total, like, I don't know how, like fluke.
Person is
And I was like, okay, like, but she might not respond. She might be busy, like and he wrote, she said, sure. Like, and I'm like, what is happening? And I remember like my crew, like we're in the car going for this interview, and I was giving them a huge lecture. I was like, look, we have like this period of time. She has a busy schedule. Do not mess up at all. Like, I was like, really, and I'm never like that. I'm never like giving like I was just like, do not, like, just don't breathe. Like, don't, like, we need to like make sure she's comfortable, and like I was like, and because we went to her house to shoot, I was like, okay. And we get there, and like in the middle of this conversation, the light, like the diffusion on the light falls
on,
in the I kid you
on her.
not, I think we all stopped breathing. Like, just the diffusion fell, just that like paper fell. I think we all stopped breathing. And Deepa was totally, guys, it's just a light. You can put it back up and we can continue. Like, breathe. And I think from that moment we are like, okay, okay. And like she was like, I mean, brilliant, brilliant. And
Can we watch
yeah.
this? Is this somewhere that we can watch?
It's not online anywhere because like you know how like university sometimes stuff works, like assignments. It starts off as something that you want and then ends up as like something totally different, and like you just don't feel it anymore. And I was like, okay, no, but I definitely want to revisit that, like, because I have a lot of footage from that and like, stuff. So I want to definitely and maybe even add to it now, like given all the people that I've met, I feel like it could definitely be more of a wholesome concept now than it was then. So maybe, I don't know.
That's yeah, that's a pretty good story. That's pretty good.
Mhm.
Pretty-
See, Deepa.
Well, I don't think I have too many more questions. I think we've covered pretty well everything. But I guess one that I'd like to ask, because I identify as a filmmaker. I call myself
Hmm.
a filmmaker. It's hard to just sort of like pick one job from the filmmaker list. Like it kind of goes director, producer, writer, all the way. But I guess just curious on what sort of roles you think you're going to be taking on in the next 5 years.
Oh, I mean, direction's always been the thing that I want to do, and um, I never thought I would be doing cinematography, like honestly. And like I said, I'm not a technical person, so I would find it hard to shoot somebody else's film because I feel like I don't know if I have it in me to take that on as like,
Right.
because I'm not the typical, like, I'm not saying there's a typical kind of cinematographer, but I'm not trained in that way. It's easy for me to like shoot my own stuff only because like I'm just going with it and doing like I don't know what, but
Yeah.
and a lot of my stuff is handheld, like, just trying to keep my balance. But I definitely want to write more, like if I can, that is, if I can write good scripts. But yeah, like produce, like it's always been that kind of thing where it would be, I'm intrigued by it, but also I think I'm terrified of it because like I don't like numbers. I don't, I'm very, I'd rather be involved in creative than anything else. Um, And production, like as David knows, if David hears me say this, he knows. He keeps feeling like he needs to challenge me and do more math all the time. But um, the challenge has still not come my way, and I'm really like glad. Yeah, so I don't know, like maybe production is something. I mean, I'd love to like work on a production on like the production side with somebody that I don't think I'm ready to take it on myself. Maybe learn more about it, like and get more of a foothold.
Streaming,
But oh, sorry.
like as like a junior producer or like an associate.
Like something to learn the ropes and get a feel for it to see if I would want to do that. Like, but definitely writing, direction, cinematography. I I feel like I can. It's definitely a confidence thing, and I do need to like
Well, Deepa and
work on that.
I mean, you've had a film that premiered at TIFF, so I mean,
Hey, she trusted me. She feels like I could do it, so I think that in itself like means a lot to me. Like I can't like I don't think I could put into words the gratitude that and love I have for Deepa and for David. I think yeah, I'd be lucky to do honestly anything. Like I feel there's a lot to learn in every department.
right.
Even as like a fly on the wall, like I've met some incredible costume designers, makeup artists, ADs,
Whole list.
like spot boys, like crafts like teams and
Everybody.
like gaffers and grips. I've met incredible people. So I think just being in the presence of that, like and being able to absorb all of that, like that would be my happy place.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, I have other questions to ask, so I'm just gonna go through them and get through them because I have them.
Go for it. Go
Okay.
for it.
How has Deepa's approach to storytelling influenced your own? Have you gleaned any strategies from her work that you would want to keep in mind on your own?
Definitely. Like, I mean, I think it's through Deepa that I honestly learned how to be um, really not I feel honest, yes, but also not honest just to my voice or the voice of the script and voice of the words, but also work with actors and be honest with with them and bring them into it. But also, I think the entirety of it, whether it's the power of silence or, how actually movies are made in the editing room, or like it's the little things. There's so many things I've learned from her, and she's always I remember she said that she's always going to be tough on me and tougher on me than other people because she knows what my potential is. She's like she said that to me 5 years ago, and I still carry that. And I think she's always pushed me to um, look at things in a different way, to challenge things, and also actually criticize, not just look at things surface level, but go deep into it and say, does this work? Does this not? Like, and I think whether that's during scripting or during something else, like to actually question everything and um not taking anything just at surface value. Like there's so much that I've learned from her, like just the construction of um every single scene and how she like looks at it, and um how you need to place a scene in context, but at the same time you can do that in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be an establishing shot. You can bring it in from this book on the table, to the or the eye of that fish in that like frame, whatever. Like this or like to see film through color, right? Like I think that there's I've learned so much from her, and there's so much more to learn. Like so, yeah.
For anybody watching, Maithili works with Deepa Mehta, and she is like probably like one of the greatest Canadian filmmakers of all time. So it's an insane opportunity, and I'm so grateful for you to have come on to this live stream. And I want to just say I represent Rolling Pictures. Here's my hat.
Woo woo.
Represent a little Rolling Pictures swag.
Yeah, rolling pictures.
Post production on Funny Boy, and yeah, it's just been a crazy journey. So just want to, very thankful for my job, and it's a wonderful place to work, and just shouting them out.
Yeah, I mean, so thankful for Rolling Pictures, every single one of you that I've met there, and so thankful to have met you. It's been so awesome, you know, like this
Thank you so much.
new friendship that we have.
Absolutely, and look forward to like collaborating on something in the future for sure. So
Definitely. Now it's on live. Like I have it
didn't
here on
like
video. Like I'm gonna like, quote you on this and say, look, you've said this.
that's all I can say.
You can't take it back. You can't take it back.
I can't take it back now. Do you want to give any shout outs to anybody in particular?
Well, shout out to, I mean, you, to Rolling Pictures, to like every single actor I've worked with through Deepa or otherwise. Every all my like friends who are doing collabs with me, all my friends who joined, my family, every single human, like to Deepa and David, like to uh, every single person who's part of this industry, who I've met, who I've learned from. Just I'm blessed. Like I'm blessed to honestly have. Like I feel very overwhelmed right now. Like because I'm like it's just immense. It's immense the kind of talent that's out there
Well,
in that world. Like it's immense.
good, good vibes for sort of just everything sort of turning around. But let's just keep staying safe
Mhm.
and communicating to one another with our mental health issues and staying on top of that and just being very aware of that is
Yeah,
good, especially
definitely.
sure it's kind of a tough time for some people. So for sure.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that like we're
And
all together in this. No,
no, no.
no. Well, like I mean, we're none of us are alone. I think that's important to like remember we're all together in this. And I always like I'm to whoever's listening, like I'm here to listen. Like, you know, if any of you feel like sharing anything with me. And yeah, like just good vibes, positive energy, healing energy to anybody who is suffering right now.
Yeah, definitely sending
You're in my thoughts and prayers.
all the healing
Yes.
everywhere. Come on, let's get it.
Healing, hope and healing, and a
Recovery.
lot of love and light. I think that's what everybody needs. So
I love that.
yeah.
Recovery, love, and light.
Hope, healing, love, and light.
Making notes.
Wow.
Maithili,
Wow.
thank you so much.
Wow. I said something that you had to take notes for. Oh gosh.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
You too, and thank you again for having me on.
All the best. Awesome.
You too. You too.
Bye for now.
Bye.
That was Maithili Venkataraman. I think I butchered her last name. I'm sorry. Venkataraman. And we're about to bring Nicholas Jansen back onto the live stream. Welcome back, my co-host, my cohort, my good friend. Bestie, perhaps? Mayhaps Mayhaps bestie. Mayhaps. Well, she's just another filmmaker like us. She just had a
Oh, it's
documentary
great.
doing university, and she just approached Deepa Mehta, just how anybody does.
Hey, worked. I mean, that's awesome.
That is
It
really
truly
cool. So,
is a great. It's a great. She has a great story. So that was wonderful.
Wickananis School Garden Tofino. Hi, Nick. Awesome show. I think that's my mom. Maybe.
Greg Holmes, great show.
Mayhaps.
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 Well, how about we play it out with a little bit of Creed?
All right. I mean, we can't. It's hard to sing along because there's like delay, but
No delays, Nick. We can't have delays. We just gotta play. No delay.
would you rather Ruffles?
Doritos.
You don't like delays?
I could
Delays?
go for some Doritos.
Doritos.
Doritos. No, but thank you again, Maithili, for coming onto the live stream. That was awesome.
Yes. Really appreciate it.
Like she gave us a lot of cool insights into some stuff. So I'm looking forward to rewatching that one. All right.
That's what I'm loving about all of our recent guests. They're just, you know, giving us a lot of information, putting us onto a lot of different things, and you know, I'm really appreciative of that as well. What song are you gonna play?
Please now, I think I'm falling, holding on
to
you safe. See
where you found the road to nowhere,
and I'm
trying to escape.
I yelled back when I heard thunder. Held down
To
one
one last breath.
will it
Let me say.
let me say.
Hold me now.
I'm 6 feet from the edge.
You know what this song reminds me of?
What?
Wandering around that cold afternoon trying to film that video,
Which
and
one?
you're standing in front of the church. You're like, I don't want to yell too loud.
We're at a church. It's Sunday.
It's crazy.
Shouldn't yell Creed lyrics. But the Creed lyrics worked because it was a church and they were like a Christian rock band, right?
Yeah.
Sorry for everybody that has to deal with all of the Creedness that Nick and I keep sharing, but it's too good. It's just
It's gonna catch on. I mean, this is the year they come back.
All right, just one chorus. Hold me now.
Hold me now.
I'm 6 feet from the edge.
And I'm thinking,
Baby, 6 feet ain't
so far down.
Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge. I'm thinking, baby, 6 feet ain't so far
down.
Sad eyes for me. Yeah. I still believe there's something left for you and me. So please come stay with me. Cause I still believe there's something left for you and me, for you and me, for you and me. Violin. Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet is so high now. Anyway. Well, now the loop station is blinking at me. What is going on here?
You figure out your toy there. You figure out your little toy there.
Well, the battery's gone bad on it. I switched the battery, and it's already gone bad. What the hell?
It's no good.
What in the hell? All right, well, I'm sorry. We're still alive, and I'm yelling profane.
Take your problems elsewhere.
I'm sorry. Well, looking forward to next week, chatting it up with Greggy. It's going to be a good time. Thank you to the last three guests, Aya, Trish, and Maithili, for just being really awesome guests to have on this live stream. And I really treasure each one a lot, as well as everybody that's come on in 2021. It's been a really great start.
Absolutely.
It's going to be nice to kick back or relax with Greg a bit and let Dad take us home. And
Wildfire will be at the forefront of the convo once again. And look forward to that.
Absolutely. Just for everybody, the film is in post-production right now. Greg has started the visual effects pipeline. You can see kind of what that is and about in some of our posts that we've done. And the film, we were able to watch the second cut, and it's coming together now. There's refining to a third cut. And
some fine tuning there.
A lot of fine tuning, making it really tight and very no fluff. And just
trim the fat, as it were.
Definitely looking forward to getting Wildfire out to an audience and seeing the response and continuing these live streams during the whole parade, my man. The whole parade.
Next week will be number 40.
Greg's 41. 42. I think he's 41.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 41. He was born in 1970.
He's turning 42 this year, then.
Yep.
Well, Greg, we're putting your age on blast there, but you know what?
You're 40.
Old and wise.
You're at least 40.
All right. Well,
nice.
Thanks, everybody.
Nice to see you, Nick. I miss you, brother.
Nice to see you too, brother. I'm on this side. You're on this side.
Perfect. Cinematography.
Cinematography.
All right, brother.
Goodbye now.
Gotta prep some gear for the Wolf Cop video.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hari's still here. He's a dedicated friend, that little fucker.
Love him.
I love him.
Love you, Hari.
Bye, boys and girls.
Bye.